Hey guys, it's Carolyn. Welcome back to the podcast. Very exciting guest today. I've been on his podcast. Now he's coming on mine again. Tyler Campbell. How are you this morning, Tyler?
Doing really good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being on the show again. And I know we have an exciting topic about new thoughtful ideas, how to bring new people into the trades. And so before we jump into that, you're in the trades. How are you involved in the trades and how did you get there?
So I was in the trades. Okay, I got to put that disclaimer in there. I was in the trades for 10 years as a structural steel detailer. So I don't know, desk job. It was kind of tradey, I guess. It was a skill, yeah.
Construction.
Hey, listen, I wasn't out in the field every day, but I was building stuff digitally for 10 years. And so I saw a lot of really cool stuff. But yeah, I started in my family business back in 2012 and, just learned the ropes from my dad and my brother. And from there, just kind of, I did an apprenticeship with them. I didn't actually end up going to college. I just stayed the course and learned how to be a detailer. And the ultimate goal was to take over the family business and, lead the team and manage the team. I met that goal. And then I realized I don't like this. So we ended up changing careers. I'd always had a love for photography and video, and I saw a need there, and so now I'm doing Story Builder, and it's been great. So now we help commercial contractors and commercial construction technology companies tell their stories, and so get to run around with a video camera all the time, which is a little bit of a career pivot, but it's all due to having a career in construction and having skill. So I'm a massive proponent of that.
So do you think that those apprenticeship opportunities exist for people that don't have a family that's in the industry?
I definitely had a leg up. I will be completely honest there. I know I did. Nepotism worked really great for me. So I will say this, though. Even then, I was hungry to have people come in who wanted to stick it out, who wanted to come in and learn the skill and stay with us. I was very hungry to invest in people. And I think that's the case for a lot of the industry. I don't think we've done a good job of showing potential opportunities to the young kids out there and say, like, listen, yeah, okay, you're going to have to sit a little while. You're going to have to sit and learn. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to walk away with a skill that is just so stinking awesome, and you'll be able to take that in so many different directions. So yeah, I think that what kids need to know is that there are opportunities out there in this. Like, there are opportunities, and there are other people that aren't your family that would want to invest in you, but you've got to show an interest. You've got to show that initiative. And you also need to be clear with, hey, I want to learn from you, ma'am, dude, like whoever it is. I want to learn from you. Teach me. And it's amazing what people will do. They'll break themselves for that. And it will give you a massive leg up on anybody out there in the job space. I'm such a unique, kind of eclectic sort of person now as a result of my time in the skilled trades. Like, I don't know many other people that have been a structural detailer but are now a video producer. That's eclectic. That's a
Yeah.
little weird, right? That could be you too, though. So I don't know. I don't think it has to be a family business.
And so, and something that I'm seeing too, and I don't know if you're seeing this, I'm probably 10 years older than you. So the generation after you that's now coming into the trades, or maybe some of your generations, is they feel that if it gets tough, then it's the wrong choice.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know how to share or how to portray. No, it's just tough right now. It's not, no matter where you go, even if you go to college and you start out in a job, you're going to always start at the tough position, the shitty shift, the whatever it is that you're going to have to work through. Right.
Yeah. I think the important thing is that the people are treating you fairly and treating you well. I think
Exactly.
at the end of the day, that's the thing that mattered for me. I kept coming back to, like, yeah, 20% of the time it does kind of suck, like I'm staying up late, like I got to get a submittal in, I've got, I've deadlines, and or I get in a fight with a project manager, or just 20% of the time it really sucks, but the other 80%, like, I love it because I love the people that I get to work around. So I'm not saying that if you go into a situation and you ask for all of those things and it's a crummy one where
Mhm.
they're abusive or taking advantage or all of those things, that you should stick it out.
True.
Don't, use your head. Use your head. If you're being mistreated, please go find somebody else, because there are other people out there that are incredible that will not do that to you. But yeah, I mean, 80% of the time in detailing, I loved it. And
Mhm.
the reason I stayed so long is because yeah, of course, I love the people I'm around because I'm related to them, but also, like, it was the people around me that we had brought on that I also loved being around. And I didn't want to leave them. I didn't want to
Mhm.
let them down. Those
Mhm.
were the people that kept me coming back every single day. And that speaks to culture. That speaks to great company culture. And I think we overlook that. Every single day in the industry, we just work people to death, and it's going to come back to haunt you.
Well, I think there's a gap, right? I think there's a gap in, like, so my generation, the generation before me was like, I show you appreciation by giving you money, right?
Yeah,
And that is not 100% what the
yeah,
people that now work for me
mhm,
or that are in the industry want, right? They'd rather have more flexibility, more
yeah,
time off.
yeah,
You know, it's not just, or, hey, I appreciate you, you're doing a good job,
mhm,
right? Like
yeah,
where I came from and the generations before me, that was just assumed. If you
yeah,
were doing a bad job, they would tell you. But
yeah,
besides that, you were just assumed. And it's different.
yeah, yeah. It's funny because I feel like, motivated by money. I think, I don't know, Gen X, that was very, yeah, like that was a reward and we would chase that. Millennials kind of flipped it a little bit. I'm not going to say completely, but it seems to be a trend where millennials are a lot more like, I don't really care about the money. I do want the flexibility. Gen Z is interesting though.
Mm.
We've talked to a few of them through our podcast and stuff. We interviewed Garrett, one of our interns, on our first episode, and that was one of the things that he mentioned, is that, like, there are a lot more people in that Gen Z group that are motivated by money. They do
Gotcha.
want that. And I thought that was interesting. So it just kind of seems to flip flop generationally. I don't know if that's just because millennials are older,
Mm.
little wiser. I don't know what that is.
It's because
Um,
their parents were helicopter parents. That's why,
yeah, that's
in
that's
my
probably
opinion.
it. That's probably it. Yeah.
I was like the latchkey kid. You're at home by yourself, cook yourself.
I was raised by a boomer, baby boomers. I did not get that treatment, for the record. That was not my growing up.
And there's something to be said for when you're a kid, you have to figure things out, and it's not everybody's a winner. It's not all done for you. It gives you a different perspective,
Oh,
and
for
so
sure. Yeah.
it's kind of hard. I've had to change my leadership skills and the things that are important, and being, and that's hard, right? It's hard for somebody that, first off, you got to understand, most of these people did not get into owning a business because they were good leaders,
No.
just like they weren't good business people. They don't know.
Yeah.
But if you have somebody that's willing to learn and willing to say, hey, I messed up here, I could have done this better, I think
Hmm.
that's huge.
Oh yeah. I think biggest thing I try to preach as much as I can is just humility, and just, admitting that you don't know something, or, just saying that you messed up, taking ownership for the things that's happening around you. It's hilarious. I've been playing pickleball lately. I'll relate this to pickleball for a second, but every single time there's a bad shot, and it was my counterpart, if we're playing doubles, and
Mhm.
they make a bad shot, but I noticed that I kind of did this towards them. I kind of just do a little bit of a duck move, like I kind of flinch towards the ball. I'll apologize. I'll say, I think I messed you up. I'm so sorry. And I feel like that's so applicable even in business too. It's like you need to be so willing to say, hey, that was my bad, dude. I'm so sorry. And we're really not good at that. Like
No.
we have a tendency to just be like, oh no, it's everybody else's fault, or just remain silent instead of just owning the situation. And so I think that's a sign of a good leader. And that's not me tooting a horn here. I don't want anybody to hear that of me just being like, I'm a great leader. No, work in progress. We all are, but I do think that's the sign of good leadership, is being able to own things that are on you, and also take people for each one uh, at their own place, right? We try to blanket sweep and say that everybody gets the same, needs the same things. Everybody needs more money.
Mhm.
That's the incentive that works for them. But you have to take your team one at a time. Not everybody is motivated by that, whether they are in Gen Z or a millennial. Like it, there are variations.
Yeah, I agree.
We have to be able to take people one at a time. But in big organizations, that becomes
Oh,
extremely
absolutely.
difficult to do to a level that I've never done it. But I can't fathom having to take each individual person and kind of, lack of a better term, but disciple and like, you know, pour into them in whatever way that they need. That's got to be a super difficult task. I don't envy it.
And I actually had an author. His book is Blue Collar Cash.
Ah,
And
Ken Rusk,
yes, and
great
he
dude.
does that with all of his employees. He has the big vision where you headed, and like
Yeah,
creates a plan for them all to meet their goals, which I thought was amazing.
Ken is such an awesome guy, and I think he's an example of one of the good ones of he just is what he is, and he's just one of those, just he's just a good guy, and I think that for the younger generation, there's so many Kens out there
I
that
agree.
would be willing to pour into you and would, I mean, honestly, from like a skill set perspective, set you up for life. You
Yeah, I
could go
agree.
anywhere. It doesn't matter if you change careers and went from construction into, I mean, shoot, like managing an NBA team. Like, yeah, okay, that might be a little bit of a stretch, but there are skills that you'll learn in construction, like leadership and leading a team, working through challenges, like people being sick, people's family members getting sick. Like, you will get so set up if you can find a leader like Ken. And I do believe there's so many of them out there. Just got to be proactive in trying to find them, and also use word of mouth too.
Yeah, I
Tell
agree. I agree.
people in your
Because
neighborhood.
I mean, not everybody's that way, and it really takes it takes a leader to want to always get better, right? But that's a leader always admitting that they don't have it right this time, and
Right.
that takes a lot, right?
It
But it
does.
make the sooner they say it, the sooner everybody like I come upon people all the time like, okay, we're doing your 60-day evaluation. Here's the things that I see that need improvement.
Yeah.
And it's going to go one of two ways. It's going to go, no, this place is effed up and this is your fault.
Yeah.
Or there's going to be like, okay, I see what you're saying and I can do
Yeah.
things better. And that's what you want as a team and that's what you want as a leader is to try to develop that. Just
Yeah.
nobody's perfect. I don't expect you to be perfect, but it's my job as a boss to give you clarity on what's expected.
Yeah, and that's honestly you as a boss. I think people misconstrue that. That's you as a boss being kind by giving that feedback. You're wanting them to do better. You're
Correct.
not wanting to sit there and brood on everything, right? And
Mhm.
and get frustrated at somebody and hold it in right up until the point that you fire them,
That used to
right?
be my old management skill.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of it, guys. Like I'm speaking from experience on that, same as you. That's being kind to your people. And that's, oh my gosh, that's a difficult thing, but
I
that's something
agree. And
in the
I
trenches.
know. And I always start out the conversation with like, my intention is honestly for you to be a successful member of the team.
Yeah.
And here's what we need to do to get here. And right now it's like if they want to, if they don't want to invest that kind of time and energy, they can just go find another job down the street, which is fine. But it's got to be this way here because that's what everybody else is working towards.
Well, I mean, and as good leadership too, you hold them to high standards,
I
right?
agree.
Like you want to set the bar high and say we're here to step up. And I'm looking at growing this business that is Story Builder now, and I'm asking myself, what kind of people do I want around me? And I keep coming back to I want a freaking SEAL team, man. Like I don't want it to be huge, but like I want a team of people that is just holy crap. Like they are so freaking good. I want to be small and potent, really potent. I just love that thought of just being just
Mhm.
a really tight knit crew that just, but that requires that honesty.
I agree.
That requires that transparency. And I feel like we're not used to that interpersonally anymore.
I agree.
We're not used to sitting face to face and giving feedback or disagreeing. We're used to typing it and being faceless. And that, so I feel like we've got some things to overcome. We always do. We always do. I
Mhm.
mean, crap, this was happening in Alexander Hamilton's day. Yeah. They're putting each other on blast in the newspapers.
I mean, these are tough conversations. It's not easy things to do, right? It's uncomfortable for the boss as well as the person they're having the conversation
1,000%. 1,000%. Honestly, it's
with.
harder on the boss, I think, in a lot of
They're like, oh my God.
I don't want to
I
do
know.
it. I don't want to. So I,
Guys, so tell me more about your podcast and what you're working on.
yeah. So, Construction Brothers, I'm here in the new studio now and loving it. It's really awesome. We just rebuilt everything. We've been going 4 years now,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, idea behind the show is to spread ideas and encourage people in commercial construction. That's it. And we do the encouragement part by beating up on each other because we are in fact actual brothers, and that's pretty easy to us. So we encourage people by throwing each other under the bus, and that's that. I think there's something to skew there, but we're going with it for now. And yeah, we just try to find really interesting ideas that we can share. I mean, we just broke down Crystal Palace, which was a really interesting project
Mhm.
um, that was done in London. I think it was 1852, I believe. I could be completely butchering that timeline, but yeah, we talked through something like that, and then the next week we'll talk to an owner of somebody that builds something like an auto dealership all over the United States, and learn from an owner what sorts of struggles they go through, and then we'll go and we'll talk to an engineer and say, what sorts of struggles do you go through, and that has really opened up so many cool conversations to provide feedback to the industry. We feel like we're lacking this feedback loop in the industry. And so that's what we're trying to create. And we just share ideas and encourage and rinse and repeat. And it's been so much fun. I don't know. I get to hang out with my brother a lot, so that's
That's
not
good.
too bad. We get along okay.
That's good. So, what are some creative ideas that you have to bring new young talent into the trades?
Oh gosh. All right. So two areas. I think first and foremost, contractors need to try to explore creating content, and a lot of freaking content. And I think that they need to realize that that's not them sitting down and talking about their brand and all the da da da. No, that is literally creating content of your day to day. Okay. I'm talking, you need to become really good at walking out on a site, being able to break down a problem and have a camera in your face while you break that problem down and walk to the next thing and just have a camera following you around. I know that feels weird and it might seem a little bit vain. I get it. There are a lot of people in the industry that would not be comfortable doing that. But those that are, you need to leverage that. And those that want to be, I encourage you, or who are scared, I will say I was one of them. You throw a camera in my face 4 years ago, I'd have freaked out. Actually, did freak out in front of a camera one time. So I'll say it takes practice, it takes time to get better at that. But if you are somebody that can do it, you need to go out and start creating content, and you need to start sharing that out on YouTube. You need to start sharing it out on TikTok, out on Instagram, as many places as you can, um, because kids see that stuff. Kids see the type of things that you work on, and they say, "Hey, that's actually not half bad. That looks like a pretty fun job." Like, gets to go check in on jobs occasionally, or hey, this person, they get to wire up this massive building for Google, or Dell, or one of these really awesome companies, and wow, actually, I kind of want to do that. I kind of want to do that. I think we need to start sharing that content so kids can start seeing themselves in our shoes. If we want to fix the industry, we got to start pushing it in some ways. We got to market it better.
Mm.
um, and I'm not a proponent of don't be educated. That's not me. I want people to be educated. I want you to pursue learning, but Not everybody is geared for college.
Mhm.
I wasn't. I have severe ADHD. Like I battle that every single day. Um, College would have been my nightmare.
Mhm.
Going to law school, like I nightmare status, not for me. Um, so I want people to start creating things so that people realize that there are other ways to be successful in this life. There are other ways that you can develop a skill, and that skill can be a way for you to provide for your family. Like you don't have to be like me and start up a whole different career in another thing. Like you don't need a pivot. If being a detailer is something that you love, stick with it. Heck yeah. There's honor in that. There's dignity in it. There's amazing things. There are a ton of people, my brothers, that provide for their families every single day as detailers.
Mhm.
There are people that provide for their families as electricians and plumbers and just all sorts of amazing sorts of skills out there. But we have to show kids what they are. We have to get them excited. And the only way we're going to do that is by showing them and marketing it
Yeah.
because college has kicked our butts. College has kicked our tails when it comes to marketing. It has for years. That's the reason we have a freaking labor shortage, is because college has killed us when it
Yeah.
comes to marketing. So if we want to balance it, we got to start marketing back. We have to start putting our money where our mouth is and start investing in creating content. And I'm not saying that you need to be the one clicking in Premiere to create these videos. You can hire a bunch of really creative people to help you with that. All right. You can. And, whether it's, I'm not even talking about myself. I'm talking about the college kid down the street that is really good at just running with a camera. All right. It can be as simple as that. So I don't know. I get fired up about this, but
No,
I
I
really
think
think,
like oh, so my daughter is a senior, and I
yeah.
cannot tell you how many emails I get daily about colleges. Oh, apply here; it's free. I mean, like, do I get any from a trade school? No. Do I
No.
get any from like, hey, come be a plumber?
But
It's really
who's doing a better
cool.
job of presenting options out there? It's the ones that are sending the freaking email, right?
Hmm.
It's those. And so the second part of this for me is that I think we need to start really, what the heck? I'm sorry for the balloons on my screen.
That
Sorry,
was
guys.
cool.
Did not mean for that to happen. I'm gonna turn those things off. Thank you. Um, so the second part of this equation for me is that I think we need to press into trade organizations, the AGCs, the ABCs of the world, to start marketing digitally, not just marketing locally, like putting up a
Hmm.
banner at a
Hmm.
local high school. I think we're missing the mark in trade organizations deeply. I think that is the best place for us to pool resources and create things like this and support creating things like this to actually solve the problem instead of whining about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, there are a lot of organizations, and I will not point fingers at any of them, but there are a lot of people within those organizations, I'll say, that like to complain about there being a labor shortage, but don't actually want to freaking try anything and
Do
fix it.
anything.
Okay. I think these organizations are a beautiful opportunity to start leaning in and pull resources so that we can create content like this. We can get amazing people in house at those organizations to start telling stories of different people in their local neighborhood. If we got organizations like that to band together to start creating content at a high level, do you imagine how much cool construction stuff there would be out there?
Yeah.
Talk about a marketing play. Um, Honestly, I don't think we need the help selling things right now, and I think that's what those are typically geared towards.
Yeah.
I think we need more help with recruiting. That seems to be the issue that I see a lot of contractors complaining about, and in sales. Sales
No.
is have a pulse, show up on time, do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah. Exactly.
Honestly, word of mouth will spread that for you.
I agree. I agree. No, I think that. the organizations or the trade themselves need to be just as aggressive as college is getting in at high school, right? Like here's options,
Yeah,
getting shop class back in schools and
yeah.
things like that.
I would say too, trade organizations have done a very good job of being the boots on the ground, doing the in person sorts of events. That has been something that they've been very proficient at for many
Mhm.
many years. What I'm saying is that's not enough anymore,
True.
because where kids develop ideas is actually online now. Like
Yeah.
they just do. They're digital natives, guys. We're here. If we want to start solving the labor shortage 10 years from now, we need to start today. We need to start planting seeds today. This is the best time we're going to get. And we keep forgetting that fact. We got to band together for this because there's so much opportunity in construction
Mm,
and just trades in general. Like there's so much opportunity there. There's so much opportunity to learn how to run a business.
I
You
agree.
know, like you don't have to stay an electrician your entire life. You don't have to be the one pulling wire your entire life. Maybe you start pulling wire, but you go, yeah, but I'm actually really good at leading a team, and I may want to start a business. And that's amazing. There's so much opportunity there, but
Yeah.
also there's opportunities elsewhere too, just with that skill set. So I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know. There's some ideas.
No, I agree. And right now, I mean, in the trades, if you were to get a job, even a starting job, you can make a living wage.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You could come out making, I mean, you can come out of high school making a pretty decent wage, even if you started an apprenticeship or even if you didn't know anything about it. I mean, like Ken's
yeah,
story, like he walked by the place after school and just showed up and he said, I'm going to work here. I mean, it's like,
yeah. Yeah, and it changed his life. And I mean, now he's a business owner with, he has multiple businesses under his belt, I think. And all signs points to the fact that he's a great boss. He's somebody that you would want to work with. And he started by
digging
being
ditches.
digging
That
ditches,
was, yeah,
you know?
that's how he started,
Like, you can build a heck of a career out of that. That was
I
a
agree.
misguided statement that was said,
Hmm.
saying, do you want to dig ditches the rest of your life? I want to see kids start saying, yeah, actually,
Sure.
there's
Wow,
good
yeah.
money in
Look
that.
at him. He did a great job.
You know, there's,
Multi-million-dollar companies and,
yeah,
books, and he's a pretty cool guy.
yeah,
All right. So
exactly.
tell me more about your company. Where can people find out more about your company and what you do?
Yeah. So, storybuildercreative.com is easy place to find me. And then also I'm on LinkedIn, Tyler Campbell. Story Builder, the main focus we have for this coming year is actually focusing in on technology, really trying to help the technology sector tell their story in clear ways. One little ninja skill I feel like I have and a lot of the team has is the understanding of technology and how it relates to construction. All
Mm,
right. And so being able to clearly articulate that and help people in the technology space clearly articulate that is something I'm really interested in. So, yeah, this next year is just all video production for construction technology. And, we'll serve some of our contractor friends out there too, of course. But yeah, video production. That's the name of the game for me.
that's awesome.
So make it
Well,
fun.
and that's a whole other side of construction that's new, the tech side of
Yeah.
construction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's desperately needed in an industry that is still so paper driven
Yeah.
and
You
all
know,
of
I'm
that stuff.
I'm seeing a lot of people who are coming in creating great solutions, but they actually hire a bunch of people that don't have construction experience in the marketing side of things.
Hmm.
So they don't really know how to say things effectively or clearly. I've fallen into this before where I bought something when I was still working as a detailer. I would buy something thinking that it would do one thing, but the reality was it was a completely different thing than what they had built. And I think that it's because of a lack of understanding on the marketing side of things that drove
Gotcha.
that. They were calling it something that it wasn't. And so, kind of marrying those things and trying to help clarify more for the industry's sake
Hmm.
than I would say for the technology's sake. I want people to understand what they're getting into, and so trying to help people clarify that is huge. I think it's
Okay,
the
they're
best.
going to get into it, and then they're going to be like, "Hey, I told you this wouldn't work. This is not this is not working, and just go back to paper. Forget about it."
Exactly, exactly, exactly. I've purchased multiple things that I was like, oh, this is going to change my life, and it's supposed to do this and this and this, and I'm like, wait, hold on a second, it just prints stuff. I don't what? So
Yeah, what?
that's not at all what they said. All right, okay,
This is misleading.
this is very misleading. Yeah. So yeah, I want to clean that up as much as I can. Help clean it up. Do my part to clarify things, and there's a lot of startups happening, so I think there's a need for it,
Oh yeah,
desperate need
absolutely,
for it, um,
absolutely.
and I think it'll all serve the same purpose of helping the industry out. So
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to be on the show. I appreciate it. I'm sure we'll have you on again. You always have great things to talk about. Busy on your own podcast.
oh, I can ramble for a long time. You can experience
I
that
think this is
today.
very helpful and very insightful.
Thanks so much for having me, Carolyn.
All right. Thanks.